Okay. Hello, learner. I am Akash, and I'll be teaching you today the basics of how to install and get started with Python with for data science and machine learning. So let me start with giving you a little introduction about this. So basically, Python is a programming language that is used for mostly for data science and machine learning tasks in this current scenario. So I'll show you today how can you make this setup, how can you do all those necessary things that is needed to get started with data science and machine learning. So I'll show you how can you install the software, how can you do all the other things to start working on data science and machine learning. So first thing that you have to do is basically there are a couple of platforms that you need to do, and it is also dependent on your choice. But I am going to show you one way how to do this. The first way is doing this is basically you can simply go to the browser. So this is I'm using Mac. This is applicable for those who are using Windows or Linux systems as well. There will be few minor changes that you have to do. I will also tell you from that step as well what we'll have to do. So first thing that you need to do is basically just go to Anaconda Navigator, anaconda.com. So in this website, you can see here this download button. Automatically, it recognizes your system and it will give you download button for your particular system. If you are using a Mac, then it will give you for a Mac Apple Silicon. If you're using a Windows, it will give you Windows. If you're using Linux, so you can also go to here. The alternative is you can also go to product. You can go to the Anaconda distribution, and it lands up to the download page. Here you can click on anything, right? You can, if let's say it does not recognize as yours, so you can click on if you want, the Windows or Mac OS or Linux. There are various, things. So you can just go for the top ones if you don't know anything, or if you know your machine requirement, your build of the machine, right? So you can go for the customized one as well. Okay. If you don't know, just go for, let's say if you're from Windows, go for this one. There is only one option. If you're from Mac, go the above one. If you are Linux, go the above one. If you don't know any description of your machine. Right. So I'm using Mac, so I'll go with this one. So since I have already downloaded and installed all these, so you can also just go in, and installation is not a very hectic process. All you have to do just simply double click on the, if you are on Windows, so you have to double click on the exe file that gets downloaded, and you just follow the process. It's as easy as that. Just clicking just your few clicks away from the installations. If there is any problem in installations, you can once again uninstall and reinstall the same thing. You can go to your C drive if you are Windows, C drive, and go to Anaconda, just delete that folder and reinstall the same thing. If you are in Windows, you can also go to your user and delete the Anaconda folder from there, and then you can once again do the installation. Other than that, what you can do is basically see, this is Anaconda distribution, and along with this it also comes with Python 3.9, so it will also install the Python as well. So in between the installation process, you will find a couple of checkboxes. Just carefully read them and check them accordingly, what you want and what you don't, right? The second one, you have to click the first one, based on your requirement. You can either click or avoid that as well. So this is what, once you have done it, you can simply install it. And once the installation is done, what you can do is, I'll just show you. So if you are on Windows, once again, if you're on Windows machine, you can go to your taskbar, or you can go to your search bar and search. If I'm on Mac, I can simply go to the spotlight search, and I can search for Anaconda Navigator, right? So this is the software that you have to open respectively on your system, whether you are on Windows, Mac, or Linux. You can simply click on OK, and it will open the Anaconda Navigator for you. So let's have a quick understanding about what exactly Anaconda Navigator is and why you are downloading it and installing it in your system. Anaconda Navigator is a kind of a package manager that handles a lot of packages inside it. You can see here, these are the data spell is there, Jupyter Lab, Notebook, IP Console, PyCharm, Data Lore, Data Studio, IBM Spider, Oracle, R Studio. So there are the different packages or different tools that you can use inside this Anaconda Navigator. and it helps you to do the development projects, right? So Jupyter Lab is one of the great development for the applications. Spider is also one of the great tool for applications development, software and dependencies development. This Jupyter Notebook particularly that we'll be using, I have actually multiple environments in this, so I'm going with the one that I have ready for this project itself. So, but initially, if you are installing it, right, so there will be only one environment, so you cannot go and change that. Automatically, it will be base one. So I would suggest you to use that itself. Do not go into any other ones. If you click on this environment button here, you can find different environments that I have installed. But if you are just freshly installing, then you will just get only one. And one more thing, here you can see I am getting launch button under this Jupyter Notebook. You will not get a launch button. Maybe you will get install button, right? So if it already comes and install while installing, so that is fine. You will get a launch button. Otherwise, you may get install button. So all you have to do just simply click on this install button and you will be able to install. And after some time, you will see the launch button over here. Once you see the launch button, you can quickly click on the launch button and it will open the, launch in the browser. So it will be your default browser that it will be launched with. If you have not set your default browser, it will ask you the browser to open with, right? If you are on Windows and have multiple web browsers and not set default, so you can go with Chrome or Safari. I mean, if you're on Mac, or Firefox, or Edge, or anything, whatever you like to use. Okay, so once it opens, you can see here all your base folders will be listed. If you are on Windows, you will see all your C folders will be listed over here. So what's the best thing to go with is basically, see, this is something we are handling into for learning, right? So basically we'll be creating multiple files for learning, right? Multiple junk things for learning. So the best way to deal with supposedly, like how I used to deal with is basically I will simply go and create a new folder, for example this, right? And I can simply go inside this folder, or you can also just go to new folder and just create a new folder, or you can give it any name, right? You can give it any name, whatever you're planning to give it, and you can simply open it, right? You will also be able to see, for example, that I have created inside downloads. Okay, so what you can do is you can simply click on here, go to the downloads, and inside it you can just get all of those the folders. For example, here's the new folder that I had created recently. So what you can do, you can simply go and click on this button, new button. You can also create the folder from here as well, right? For example, let's say if you're in downloads, you can also click on this. You can click on the folder and it will create a particular folder. And here it is untitled folder. You can rename this as well, right? So whatever folder name you want to give, you can also give it from here as well. Folder F1, right? And then what you can do, let's say I will go to the new folder and then I will simply click on this Python 3, right? So see, simply if I, and what the folder that I just created, you can also go and see in this one as well, right? Folder F1 here. It does not have any item because it's an empty folder, right? So once again, you can just see Python 3 IPI kernel. So we are just going to simply create a notebook, right? There are various ways to run a Python code. Okay. One of the way is basically you can simply download Python, right? And you can have one text editor with you and just install Python and run Python from your text editor. I mean, from the terminal itself. Write the code in the text editor and run the code in the terminal. So I'll show you that as well. The other way is using the notebook. The like some other platforms, like they provide, like you can set your own terminal in them. For example, VS Studio, Visual Code, or PyCharm, or Atom is one of the text editor that in that you can also add the terminal as well, or you can also use it as a raw text editor as well. Okay, so I'll just show you that. So all you have to do, for example, you can simply go into this and sorry, not here. So okay, you can simply click on this, and I mean go to the search bar and search for, let's say, whatever, if you have downloaded or not. Like if you want, you can also download the Sublime Text if you haven't any text editor, a good text editor, or you can also open it in your Notepad or Notepad plus plus or any other text editor if you have. I have this Sublime Text. If you do not have, you can also download it, like Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio or Atom. These are the text editor that you can use, or PyCharm you can also use. So here I'm going to simply open the Sublime Text. Sorry. Yeah. So this is a new Sublime Text editor I have opened. Here I'm just going to simply write a small print code. Let's say print hello world, and let's say I'm defining some variables, and then I'll be simply printing the value of these variables, like x plus y, and then I'll print, let's say, the end. Right. So I'll just save it. Once again, if I do Control S, I'll be able to save it. Let's say I'm going to save it into the same folder that I created. Where's the new folder? Yeah, here. I'll just save it with giving it a particular name. For example, let's say script. Okay. So this is called scripting. Okay. Okay. One thing I had missed is basically you need to also give the extension to this file format. So I'm giving it .py. Okay. All right. Now if I'm going to run in the open in the Sublime Text, see how does it look like. So as soon as you give the py extension, the text editor will be able to read that and will be able to give you the coding like so whenever you are let's say going to write something new, right? So you will see the way you code this exactly similarly you will be also able to see. So let me just show you how can you run this. To run this, what you have to do is basically let's say if you want to run this, all you have to do is just open your on a terminal. If you have set the path of your terminal, that's well and fine. Otherwise, you can go to here environments, open the environment, click here, we'll click on the open terminal, and then what you can do is you can go to your location where you have the file that you want to run from the terminal. Right. So just do cd is the change directory command that will help you to change the directory. So from cd, I'll go to downloads, and then I'll go to download slash, what is the next name folder? I guess new folder. Yeah. So I have come to the new folder. If I do ls, I'll be able to see the script.py. Similarly, you can, if you are on Windows, you can also use the cd command for changing the directory, and to list all the files over there, you can also use list dir command, or you can also search for the commands to list all the directories for Windows. Okay, in the terminal. So these are the things you can, small things you can simply search on Google and you'll be able to find. So if you ever stuck and you know what you are going to do, but you don't know how to do, then you can simply go into Google and search it. Maybe, most of the time, like 99% of the time, you will be able to find the solutions. Okay. So now you can see here, we are in this particular folder. And then what we have to do, if you are going to run a Python file, so all you have to do is just write Python and write the name of the file. So script.py. So you see, when I run this Python script.py, so you see this is hello world 99, and then the end is being printed. Now just see the code that was given, that was written. Sorry. So you can see here, the first line was hello world, and then I took two variables, 9 and 90, and then I added them and printed them. So that's 99, and then at the end, there was the end. Right. So this was a small Python code. If you don't know what I have written or how I have written, no issues. This is just I'm telling you what are the ways to run a Python code if you have existing, right? I'm not telling you how to write the code. How to write the code, I'll tell you later, because this is just setup and installation things that you are going to learn today. Okay, so you can simply save it. Okay. And then the next one, like the next way to create run a Python code is basically using the the Jupyter Notebook, right? So you see here, I just created a file here, and you can also see that is listed in here, script.py. And now you have to simply click on this Python 3. So now you are going to create a notebook. Now just understand what exactly a notebook is. Particularly, we'll be using this Jupyter Notebook. I'll just click on this. So when you see the install button, click on it, it will be installed. And then after some time, it will, once it is completed, you can simply launch it. Once you launch it, it will open into the browser. What does it mean? It does not mean that this requires internet to run. You can run it without internet. It is a local host. So it will create an internal server into your system, and then it will host in locally this particular thing, the Jupyter node, right? So it does not require internet to run, right? Now you can see all of your folders listed over here. Particularly those who are using Windows systems, it will be C folders. So folders available in those C drives, right? It could be the desktop, it would be the downloads, and all those things available in C drive. Okay. So this is how you will be able to open the Anaconda Jupyter Notebook. And now you can see here the folders. I would ask you to create any folder or go to the existing folder. For example, I'll go to downloads, right? Now you can create. I will ask you to create one folder here in order to keep everything in the same folder like this. This is a notebook. This is a Python notebook. I'll just show you what exactly this Python notebook is. Okay. So this is where we'll be coding. Now you can see in this particular folder, there is an untitled.ipynb. What is this ipynb file? This is IPython notebook. Okay, this is Python notebook, and this is the notebook environment that we were talking about. Okay, now you can see the same thing here into this folder itself. So if you go to this folder, you can see this untitled ipynb. All right. You might not see this preview because it gives you a default preview whatever in whichever you open it. One more thing, just understand it clearly. I get this query from a lot of people, and I'm not going to tell you again and again that you cannot open this file by double clicking into this. You cannot open this file by double clicking into this because it will open into different format and you'll not be able to use it, or it will show you unsupported files and something like that. You always have to open by opening the Jupyter and going to that particular folder and clicking onto that notebook, and then only you'll be able to open like this. Okay. All right. Okay. Next thing, that once you have created the notebook, how to use it, how can you write code into this, how can you execute it, and all those different things, what exactly this notebook environment is, and what are the different ways to write Python code and execute them. That's what we are going to discuss. Let's say this is my first notebook, so I'll just rename it to my underscore first, right? So this is my first notebook. Now you can see into this folder, my first notebook.ipynb. You can also see in this folder, my first notebook.ipynb. Okay. Now let's go back to here, and now if you click here. So this is your notebook. Now this is a code shell. How would you know? There will be multiple cells, I'll tell you. Let's say here in this cell, you can simply write the Python code. Let's say I'm simply writing a print statement here. Let's print hello world. Now you'll be able to run this hello world code. This is just a simple way of writing the code. You can write more than one line into one cell itself. How to run a particular cell? You can simply use this play button, run button over here, selecting that particular cell, or you can use shift plus enter. Okay. Shift plus enter in order to run any cell. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is a simple basic Python hello world statement. And as I said, you can not only write one line of code, you can write multiple line of code into one cell as well. For example, let's say here I'm writing print statement, print I, this is beginning. And let's say x is equals to 8, y is equals to 9, and then s is equals to x plus y, and then print s, and then print the end. Okay, now you can see here I have written 6 line of code into this. It's 6 lines of code. So as I said, you could write multiple line of code into one cell as well. You can write a single line of code into one cell as well. It's up to you, whatever you want, right? This is how we write the comment. This is the comment, right? This is how you can write the comment in any code cell. There are not only code cells. You can also change any shell to other type itself. For example, let's say from now on, I want to learn, let's say, data structure. So I'll just create this a markdown cell. Markdown is a formatting style, text formatting style. You can use as HTML formatting or different ways itself. So let's say this is level 1 heading. This is level 2 heading into that. Let's say here I'm going to write about the data structure. And data type. Let's say I'm going to learn about this thing. So now I can write something like this, and then here I can write the definition of the data structure. Data structure is, and one more thing, don't mind if I write some wrong spellings. I'm not very good in the English, into spellings actually. So data structure is very cool to learn and definition goes here. So basically, you can write a heading, you can write its definition, you can write anything, whatever you want into this markdown cell. So basically, you'll understand, let's say, when I will give you my first notebook to you, right? So you can include text into this notebook, you can include pictures, you can include videos, you can include audios, you can include everything into this notebook. And you will be able to write the code, you'll be able to see its output just below that cell. That is why this notebook environment is so cool and so usable, especially for the beginners, right? So the notebook, it's like, that's why we call it notebook. Notebook means it's a notebook where you can simply, use and write the not only the code, but all the other different things itself. So it's just like in a notebook, you can in a physical notebook, you can create some graph, you can write some formulas, you can write some English, Hindi, anything, whatever you want, right? You can use some maths over there, you can use some code or anything else. You can write some graph, pictures, everything. Similarly, you can also do it here itself. So this makes coding really understandable and fun. Okay, that's why we are using this Jupyter Notebook or notebook environment particularly. You can have the notebook in your Visual Studio as well. Now, if you want to know how to do that, you can simply go to search from Google or somewhere. You can go to some YouTube tutorial for that. Okay. So you need to install the Jupyter Notebook and then enable the you need to install the Visual Studio and then enable the Jupyter Notebook over there. There are some other platforms as well. I'll just tell you later. So this is what the Jupyter or the notebook environment looks like, and you can even line a single line of code and run it. That's why I like it for the beginners, right? So let's say if you do some mistakes, you do not need to write 10 line of code and then run it and then check for the mistake where did you got the mistake. So if you run the one line, if there is a mistake, it will just give you an error, and you can just clear that out and then go ahead. That's why it's very cool. Also, one more thing here, you might see the output just below the cell, right? The output just below the cell. You can see this is the code numbering, right? Since we do not run, let's say if you're running a normal code, right? So it will run from top to bottom, right? But in this case, you can run this first, and then you can run this one. So that's why there is a numbering given, right? But let's say if I run this first and then first, so it will have the latest number, right? For example, this is the sequence of the running the cell. So this is 5th and this is 6th. Means I have run this particular cell latest. The latest run cell is the above one, right? This one. So by this, you can keep track of the variables or anything else, whatever you want. Right? So I will just talk about the programming style and everything later, just to understand the notebook environment, okay? So this is Jupyter Notebook. This is where we'll be working on. And in order to create some script, so this is notebook environment, right? There is another environment that we call a Python script, right? So there you will be writing just code and code only, right? Alternatively, you can also write the comments on that, the way I have written comment into this code cell, right? Into this, any code cell can be changed into markdown cell or raw and be convert cell or heading cells or anything else. Okay, so it does not needs to be that. I'll simply make it a code cell actually. Okay, so this is a code cell. Yeah, so this is how, and you can also see like here all the different things like open a different notebook, save, make a copy of this notebook, rename it, save the checkpoint and all that, download as HTML, LaTeX, Markdown, notebook, PDF format, .py format, all those different things. Here you can cut cell, copy cell, you know, this is one particular cell. This is another cell. This is another cell. Cell can be any code cell or other type of cell as well. Okay. You can view, right? Insert a cell above or below. Run a cell. You can interrupt the kernel. I'll talk about all these later in the sections. And this is just to save the file. This is to add a new cell below, right? If you just click on this, it will add a new cell below. If you just click on this, it will delete the cell, right? Whatever it is selected. Let's say I select this cell. I can just click on this catchy button. It will delete that. The scissor button. And this is for the copy. Copy the cell, paste the cell, move the cell up and down, right? This is to run a cell. This is to stop running a cell. This is to refresh. This is to restart the kernel. This is to change the code and all that. Okay. So this is very different things over here. Now separately, what we can do. So yeah, so this is how you'll be dealing with this. Okay. Now let's talk about the other environment. There is a something called Google Collab. You can simply write collab, and you can see it is suggesting me the site, but you can simply search for collab or collab Google or something like that. It will give you the link over here. So collab.research.google.com. You can go to this. And here you can also write code in Python notebook actually. Right. So I will not request you guys to use this unless you have some problem with your Jupyter notebook or something else. If you have Jupyter notebook, then use Jupyter notebook, because the beginning for the normal things, like notebook will work like a charm. Notebook will work like a charm. The Jupyter notebook, you'll not have any issue with that unless you're going to do very heavy programming. All right, that requires a lot of computation power. Then I will not suggest you to use notebook. So if you have, if you're doing some heavy programming, then you can use this collab. Okay. Here you can simply see the things like you can go to see the examples, the recents, the notebook from Google Drive, from GitHub, or you can upload some external notebooks. Or you can just simply go and click here, the new notebook. It will open a new notebook. So as you can see, this is the same environment. It is a little bit different than that, but it also has the code shell. It also has the text cells and all those different things here, like file, edit, view, insert, runtime, and all that. In order to run this, you do not require any installation or things. So you just have to go to this website, create a new notebook, and click on this connect button. It will take some time. It is actually allocating you some resource on Google server. It is giving you a VM, a virtual machine, a server in the Google's server. So once it connects, now you'll see. Yeah. So here you can see for this particular notebook, Google has allocated you more than 12 GB of RAM and 100 GB of storage. just for this notebook. That's why I ask you to do not waste the resource of Google. Just just try to work local, right? Work offline, right? You can also write the same code here and run it, right? Shift plus enter will also do the same thing. In order to create a text cell, you can also have the same thing here, code shell here. So it's a same environment, and you'll also have the numbers like this. You can, in order to run a cell, you can click on this play button or shift plus enter. Okay, that would do the task. So yeah, this is about the environment and setup and all those different things, right? I would ask you guys to just get it installed and get it done till the next class, till the Monday. So that is it from my side, I guess.